Welcome to the Learn by Teaching series for Supply Chain Management Cloud. Like I mentioned in the introduction video, this series of videos is going to be focused on the foundations of supply chain management in Oracle, specific to inventory, order management, and purchasing. I'll start with inventory, okay, and then I'll move on to order management, and finally, we'll get into purchasing. The reason is this particular instance which I'm having right now, I've already configured that, as you know, for receivables, right? I've not done anything on payables as such. So if I'm able to configure inventory and order management successfully, then it will even help me create my complete order to cash videos, okay, end to end. That's my idea. And the other reason why I'm doing this is normally when I'm working on any client project, and my focus has always been more on the financial sides, financials, projects, HCM side of things, but a little less on the order management and the inventory side of things because my focus has been more financials. But sometimes that's a drawback because let's say I'm doing some testing. Okay, I've configured something in receivables. I need some order to be picked and shipped, and then only my auto invoice can run and pick it up. I always have a dependency on the other folks. Okay, even when I try to create some order, sometimes it works when I know the item to be used, but then sometimes folks tell me that certain items there is a pricing attribute behind that which is set up. So a combination of customer and item and pricing and those kind of setups are always there in in an environment which is being delivered for the client, right? So I always face challenges, and it's very difficult for me to start. uh, from that, and then I end up not doing it most of the times. So it was always in my head that I need to do something. I need to get my hands dirty on the order management and inventory side of things also, which means that I don't need to master the complete thing, but at least whatever is needed for the financial aspects of the things, I should know that. That is the first mind. Second thing is, even when we are consultants, working for a client, as you grow in your experience, in the beginning we can always say that, okay, I'm just a finance person, right? But as you become more and more experienced, as you take up much senior roles, let's say you are going to become the enterprise architect in future after gaining a lot of years of experience. As an enterprise architect, it is expected that you know the end to end, at least, okay, at least from a high level standpoint and key configurations. Okay, when somebody talks about some important configuration, it is expected that we should also know. And I'm talking about the supply chain side of things. Finance, obviously, you'll be knowing it if you are a finance consultant. But let's say there are certain things people talk about, work in process accounts or something like that, right? So we would need to understand that. So that's why I'm doing this series. Again, like I said, it's not for any experts out there. It is for people who want to learn supply chain management fundamentals, but who are more focused on finance, so that it helps them. That's the main agenda. That's the main plan behind me doing this. Okay, so so whatever I'm discussing will be more from the finance viewpoint as a finance consultant. Okay, but then it doesn't mean that I'm restricted to that. So the first thing I would always like to start is the enterprise structure. Okay, we all know the enterprise structure. I'm not going to create any fancy deck for that, but we know that as a finance consultant, what do we know? We know that there is an enterprise on top. There is optionally a division. Okay, and then there is a primary ledger, which is the finance piece of it, and then there is a legal entity, right? Legal entity. There will be a legal entity, and then there is a business unit. So we generally, the finance folks, we generally only worry about these five things. And out of this, division is generally optional. Okay, I'm going to exclude that. And in this discussion, I'm not going to include any topic about project unit. But if you have a project, you will also have a project unit in place. Okay, which can be at a BU level or it can be at a separate level by itself. So if you want to understand projects, there is a separate playlist for that. But in this series, I'm not going to talk anything about projects. Okay, so we'll talk the regular enterprise structure with regular inventory. We'll start with inventory first, and then we'll slowly get into the other modules. So enterprise division is optional, primary ledger, it's a financial thing, legal entity, and business unit. So those are the things which we know of already. Okay, but when it comes to the inventory side of things, there are two things you need to know. First one is cost or okay, cost org. And why I'm marking this cost in two lines, I'll come to that shortly. And this is what I learned over the period of years. There is a cost org, and then there is this inventory org. Inventory org. Okay. Beneath that, under inventory, you'll have sub inventories. Okay. Under sub inventories, you'll have locators, and those locators are basically row, rack, bin kind of things. Okay. So this is a high level structure, but the reason I am putting this as a separate thing is because one of the differences between EBS and cloud is that in EBS, the inventory had some amount of accounting setups involved in that, the EBM, the inventory module itself. But in cloud, what they have done, they have completely removed the accounting aspects from inventory, completely removed it, and they have put that into this thing called costing. So basically, costing module. Okay, the whole costing piece, that's pretty huge in cloud, and that is not going to be covered in this session because I'm not a costing expert. I just know a few business processes within costing, like supply chain, financial orchestration, and global procurement and global shipment. These are some things which I've worked on, but I'm not a costing expert. So this one is not something I'm going to cover right now. But as we proceed further, as we complete this inventory, order management, maybe procurement, after that we'll consider doing costing, and that too costing, which I'm going to tell you guys is not complete end-to-end costing, because costing is a very, very big module, a lot of complex accounting processes involved, and I don't know all that at that level. But what I will tell you is the pretty basics, and that should at least get you started as an enterprise architect. And down the line, if I ever become an expert in the costing area, definitely I'll pick it up. As of now, this is not going to be included. Costing is not going to be included. So I'm going to remove that. But just for the explanation sake, I wanted to add that. But we will definitely focus on these. So enterprise, primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, you already know that. But now we'll start focusing in these trainings on the inventory piece of it, because we are starting the inventory module. We look at the sub inventories, and then there is a requirement in Oracle that there should be minimum one sub inventory. But to keep it interesting, here is what I think we should do at least three sub inventories. One, we'll call it let's say raw materials. One, we'll call it work in process, and one, we'll call it finished goods. If needed, we can always add a staging and things like that. For those who don't know what this is, we will definitely look into all of this one by one. I'm just building this, or rather, explaining this structure to you so that you keep in mind when we are proceeding further. Okay. So we'll just create one probably inventory org, and within that, we'll do these sub inventories. Okay. It's nothing. It's just like three different buildings. Okay. In one building, you have all your raw materials kept. In the second building, you'll have the work in process items. You take the raw materials, your company manufactures some items, right? So that is kept in the work in process inventory. And then once it's completely manufactured, it's put in the third inventory, which is a finished good inventory. All those items, all those inventories, they are all assets, as you know, right? So they're all current assets. So basically, um, this is what I will be discussing in this series of videos. And then from sub inventory, we'll see if there is a way we can set up locators. Locators have rack, row, and bin kind of situation. So which falls under the sub inventory. So we will look at those things also. Okay. So first, let's see in this instance. What do we have? What can we leverage? Okay. So first, let me check the HCM price. I'm going to show you the enterprise, and I can keep it in financials also to check the HCM. I guess financials, manage HCM, legal entity HCM information. Okay. So that's what we're going to use. Let's select the legal entity, and we'll keep United States here. I'm just going to see which legal entity and all I can use. Okay, for example, I was telling you right in the, I think I should have not deleted it, but enterprise division is optional, primary ledger, legal entity, and business unit. Okay, I'm going to remove primary ledger also from here. So I'm just trying to find out these three right now, which I can utilize. Okay, so if you go to manage United States, let's go through this and see which one we can use. Because I don't want to create a new legal entity, I just want to use any of them which is already existing. Let's start. Okay, so this is the one, US one legal entity. This is what I'm going to use. Okay, so this is the legal entity which I want to use. Click on done. So manage HCL, manage legal entity HCM information. So we have seen the legal entity. Now let's look at the primary ledger. Manage primary ledgers. I'm just going to tell you which ledger we will be leveraging. We are not going to create on our own, but which is the one which we are going to leverage. So it should be US chart of accounts. Yeah. So in this is the one which I'm going to use. US primary ledger, Vision primary ledger. Okay. And then we have seen the enterprise legal entity. Let's see the business unit also. And business unit team, I have created one business unit. Maybe we can use that for this. So I have myself created a business unit by the name of called X. Let's type in X. So this business unit was created by me when I was doing the projects playlist, which is still in the progress. But we can use the same in a business unit. Okay, so now you know which legal entity I'm going to use, which ledger I'm going to use, and which business unit I'll be using. Okay, for our discussion. So I hope that the instance remains intact and I will be in a situation where the instance might go down at certain times. I might have to reconfigure those particular setups, but let's see. I mean, let's continue what we are doing right now. But when we get to that point, um, we'll do what is necessary to be done. Okay, so that's just a quick intro on our plan. So we'll start with using these enterprise structures, but then we'll start configuring the inventory related ones. So we have discussed what we have seen, but we'll start talking about the individual inventories, the sub inventories, and the locators, and the rest of the steps. Okay, and then once those basic core setups are done, I will look into how we can do some transaction things. Okay, keeping the future financials in mind. So what I want to do the end of all this is, okay, when I'm able to create at least one or two items, okay, and then using that item in inventory, I'll be creating a order. And then we'll go through the order, picking, shipping, whatever is required for that order to be done. And then we'll get to do the ARPs, which is auto invoice, which we all already know about, right? So the focus is not more on the financials in this playlist. The focus will be what do we need to do in order to get the data into the financials. As a standalone consultant, if you're going to work, and if you do not want to depend on any supply chain consultant, then my series of videos should be able to help you. And we are helping each other by doing this. So if you find anything interesting in these videos, please do share your comments. And if you think that certain things are missed, or if there is a certain topic I need to cover, definitely let me know that. Because see, this list of series, this series of playlist is not like the other ones. The other modules, I have literally done a lot of work on implementation myself, but I've done part of it. So if you've seen the channel revenue management playlist, which is completely an order management functionality, then it's a separate parallel track. But because I've worked and because I've experience working with so many different consultants in this industry, I've seen that in passive action. Okay, I've seen that in passive. I understand the terminologies a lot. So now I'm just eager to try that on my own. And I was thinking when I'm trying this, why not just try it with all of you? Do it together. That's what the idea is. Okay. So that's what I had for today. So keep watching this playlist, and I really appreciate if you guys can give me those likes and comments in the all the videos so far, which will help me motivated myself to create more videos. And even the YouTube's algorithm will pick up my videos and publish it across wherever it is required. Okay. All the best. Thank you so much for your time. I'll connect in the next session.